Oh, what's going on, guys? It's Etienne here with a brand new video for you guys. But first things first, as always, I hope you guys are having an amazing day. So in today's video, we're going to be continuing with part 2 of our in-depth hero tier list. So I really don't have too much else to say, so without further ado, let's go ahead and jump straight into it. So the first hero up is going to be the semi-new hero Sai. I'm not sure why, but this hero has been labeled as a bad hero by a lot of people in BTD6, and honestly I have no clue why. Sai is more of a sleeper hero, which means he doesn't have too much popping power when initially placed, but will gradually grow stronger and stronger as they level up. If I could compare Sai to one tower in BTD6, I would compare Sai to the middle path druid, just a lot stronger. So right off the bat, Sai can pop camo balloons at level 1, which is a big bonus, and along with having global range, they also ignore obstacles on the map. And just to add a little bit of icing on the cake, he also has a stall ability that gets stronger the more they level. But let's go ahead and move on to the juicy stuff. So Sai costs 865 on hard mode, not super expensive, but you will have to wait a few rounds before you place him. Sai is also the only tower besides Benjamin that cannot target a bad balloon. But it's actually for a good reason, because could you imagine if Sai just grabbed the bad balloon and in a couple of seconds the bad balloon just poofs away? I think that would be just a little bit OP, so I do feel that Sai is pretty balanced when it comes to that. So at level 3, Sai gains the ability of Psionic Blast, which stuns balloons in range, including all types of Moabs. At level 6, Sai can pop lead balloons. At level 7, Sai can target ceramic balloons. At level 10, Sai gains the ability Psionic Scream, which causes up to 2,000 balloons to either get blown back towards the start of the map or they're insta-killed. But this effect does not target purple balloons or Moab balloons until Sai has leveled a little bit more. So at level 12, Psionic Blast pulses 3 times. At level 13, Sai can now target purple balloons. At level 14, Sai can target Moab balloons. At level 16, Sai can target BFBs. And at level 20, this is when Sai becomes absolutely OP. Sai can now target ZOMGs and DDT balloons. And the ability Psionic Scream now has a 100% chance to insta-kill every balloon that it affects, including ZOMGs and DDT balloons, meaning that at level 20, Sai can insta-kill round 98, one of the hardest rounds in the game, in a matter of seconds. So aside from Sai not being able to target bad, Sai is a powerhouse hero for sure. But because this list is meant more for newer players, Sai does require a bit of game knowledge to be used effectively. So because of this, I'm going to go ahead and place Sai as a C-class hero, because even with no micro, Sai can still be used effectively. But anyways, guys, let's go ahead and move on to the next hero. Next up is Pat Fusty, the fluffy monkey. While I'm going to be honest with you guys, I really don't use Pat Fusty too much outside of some expert maps, but right away I'm going to say that Pat is more of a intermediate hero, meaning he's not super hard to use, but he does require a bit of ability management to use him efficiently. So like when in Open, Pat can use his big paws to pop lead balloons, but he does need a little bit of help with camo balloons. A simple village would be able to help out there. While Pat does have decent damage potential, it's better to use Pat as more of a support tower rather than a primary damage tower, especially in the early game. Another little secret about Pat is he is biologically engineered to have the passive ability to actually be placed on water. So it's not because he's chunky, but it's because of science, guys. I mean, let's be real here. When it comes to synergies, Pat has a few different strats that he can be used with, like the Grandmaster Ninja strat, the Tax Zone strat, or even with the Sub Commander. But I think Brickle Pickle would be a little bit disappointed if you went with Pat over her. So onto the juice. Pat costs 865 on hard mode, so not super expensive, but it will take a few rounds to place him. At level 3, Pat gains his ability Rallying Roar, which grants nearby towers the ability to pop an extra layer of balloons that last 8 seconds. At level 5, he does a slap attack that will sometimes push balloons back. At level 6, his slap stuns balloons. At level 10, Pat gains the ability Big Squeeze, which allows Pat to grab Moab balloons, BFBs, ZOMGs, or DDT balloons and pop them, but he does need the camo detection for DDT balloons. At level 13, he can now stun Moab balloons. At level 14, his roar ability is increased from 1 to 3, aka balloon or the towers affected can pop up to 3 layers at one time. And at level 20, he can now grab 4 Moab class balloons at once. So after all of this info, Pat is a good hero, but I wouldn't recommend him to newer players. So I'm gonna go ahead and place Pat Fusty as a C-class hero like Sai. It's not that Pat is bad or anything like that. He just takes a little bit of getting used to in order for Pat to be used effectively. So now that we went ahead and covered Pat, let's go ahead and move on to the next hero. Next up is Etienne. First things first, Etienne is going to get a bonus point because Etienne has the cutest pet in Bloons Td, and that of course is going to be the Roomba cat pet. And if you guys have no idea what I'm talking about, check out the pets in the trophy store and you guys will quickly understand what I'm talking about. So Etienne is currently the best hero in BTD6, but I'm curious to see if Ninja Kiwi is going to give Etienne the Adora treatment and nerf him into the ground. That's definitely something I would not like to see. So, opposed to popping balloons himself, he uses his drones to pop the balloons for him, and as he levels, he gains more drones to pop more balloons, and even gets to the point where he can call in a massive UCAV that will annihilate the balloons on the screen. So Etienne is going to be another DPS tower that is best mid to late game and doesn't really have any towers that he synergizes too well with, other than the Energizer that reduces the cooldown of his UCAV ability and the Dark Knight for extra Moab damage. It's important to note that Etienne has a few different targeting options that might be a bit confusing to understand at first, so because of this and the amount of game knowledge required, I would not recommend this hero to newer players. Now onto the important stuff. I'm not going to go crazy in depth because there's a lot of minor details with Etienne with each level that he gets, but I'm going to go ahead and just list a few of the important levels. So at level 3, he gains the Drone Swarm ability that will call in 4 drones that will assist in popping balloons. At level 5, his drones can now passively pop camo balloons. At level 8, Etienne grants all towers on the map camo detection, which is a massive upgrade. At level 10, Etienne gets his UCAV, which calls in a massive drone that can pop a decent amount of balloons before it disappears. At level 20, Etienne's UCAV is now on the screen forever. So now, like I said, there are a lot of minor details about Etienne that I left out for the sake of time, but I could probably make a whole video just on Etienne because there's that much info about this hero. That being said, let me know in the comments below if that's something that you guys would actually like to see. So, time for the rank. Even though Etienne is the current hero in BTD6, and if this was like a overall hero tier list for every hero in the game, and I wasn't trying to make the tier list for newer players, I would definitely rank Etienne as an S-class hero. But because this tier list is intended for newer players, I'm going to go ahead and place Etienne at the bottom to keep Zilly company. Please don't hate me too much. It's just like I said, I feel like Etienne's just a little bit too complicated for a newer player to use Etienne effectively. But anyways, guys, that's going to do it for Etienne. Let's go ahead and move on to the next hero. Next up on the list is going to be Adora. What can I say about Adora other than this hero went from being insanely overpowered to being hit with so many nerfs that I'm surprised she's actually still in the game. Even though Ninja Kiwi tried to give Adora a bit more usefulness by giving her a passive, Ninja Kiwi just pretty much threw Adora in the garbage can begging for a bit of attention. So aside from that, I actually do really like Adora and I want to use Adora more, but out of all of the heroes, she's definitely outclassed. Adora does have a couple of redeeming qualities though, like she can pop lead balloons and shoot through walls, but I mean, that's about it. Unlike many heroes, Adora does have towers she's meant to be used with, and she's meant to be used with the Super Monkey. More specifically, either the Vengeful Sun God or the True Sun God. Adora is a hero that has a few achievements linked with her as well, so I do recommend Adora to newer players, but only for the achievements linked to her. Now onto the level stuff. So Adora is a bit of a pricier hero, sitting at 1,080 in order to place her on the map, so making her a little bit more of an expensive hero, but not really that bad. At level 3, Adora gains her ability of the long arm of the light, which increases her pierce and range for 10 seconds. Also, it allows her to pop purple balloons. At level 16, it also doubles her damage. At level 7, she gains the Blood Sacrifice, which grants her bonus experience towards her level. Also, this will boost her range and rate of fire by 10% when activated for 10 seconds. This also affects the Sun Avatar, the Sun Temple, and the True Sun God and Vengeful Sun God. So with the Blood Sacrifice, the experience granted is equal to 4 times the value of the tower. For example, if a tower is able to be sold for 5,000, the value turns into 20,000 experience. At level 10, Adora gains the Ball of Light, which the Ball of Light has global range, and the Ball of Light can also passively hit camos. Also, Adora has 2 hidden forms when summoning the True Sun God or Vengeful Sun God. If Adora is within range of the temple and level 20, she will transform into a more powerful version of herself, granting plus 5 damage and plus 30 pierce. But there's no difference in stats from the Vengeful form and the True Sun God version other than her appearance. Like I said, Adora does have a few achievements linked to her, so I do recommend that newer players buy her as soon as possible for a couple of bonus rewards and achievements. Now on to her rank. Honestly, other than for her achievements or for fun, like I said, she is outclassed by other heroes, and because of this, I am going to go ahead and place Adora as a D-class hero. But if Ninja Kiwi wants to hit her with a couple of buffs, I'll go ahead and raise her up from a D-class hero, probably up to a B-class hero. But at this current point in time, she's just like I said, way outclassed by other heroes. So now that we went ahead and went over Adora, let's go ahead and move on to the next hero. Now on to Brigale Pickle. So Admiral Brigale, she's pretty much a water version of Striker Jones. Just rather than using Mob Maulers, you're required to use Monkey Subs for this hero to be used effectively. So she buffs all water-based towers like the Monkey Buccaneer and the Monkey Sub, and if you're crafty enough, Brigale can actually buff the Sun Temple as well. Brigale is going to be another support-based hero similar to Etienne. There's a lot of small details with this hero that can make this hero difficult for newer players to use. So this is going to be another hero that I would not recommend for newer players. As I was saying, it's best to use Admiral Brigale with the Monkey Subs and the Sub Commander because she does give a decent buff to those towers, and she's very useful on the expert map of Flooded Valley. She just requires a specific timing and a bit of knowledge about the game. So onto the important stuff. At level 1, she starts spawning mines that can be used for big clumps of balloons, but they can take a while to replenish, especially in the early rounds. At level 3, she gets Naval Tactics, which for 9 seconds, all water towers gain a 200% attack speed bonus. At level 5, Naval Tactics allows affected towers to pop lead balloons. At level 8, Naval Tactics allows affected towers to see and pop camos. At level 10, Brigale Pickle gains the Mega Mine, which triggers when a Moab balloon gets close to it. When the Mega Mine triggers, it deals 4,000 damage and stuns balloons for 5 seconds. Also, the Mega Mine lasts for 4 rounds. At level 20, the Mega Mine damage is increased from 4,000 to 15,000, which is a crazy amount of damage. There's a lot of small details that I'm going to be leaving out, but overall, she is one of the best heroes in Bloons Td6 when used with the Monkey Subs. Other than that, she's kind of useless outside of her Mega Mine. Even though she can be paired with the best tower in BTD6, again, she is not going to be a hero that I would recommend for newer players. So, because this is a tier list for newer players, I'm going to go ahead and rank her as a D-class hero. And that's just simply because of the amount of game knowledge you need in order to use her effectively. So, now that we went ahead and covered Brigale, let's go ahead and move on to the next hero. Finally, onto my girl, Sada. Out of all of the heroes in Bloons Td6, in my opinion, Sada is the most balanced hero and is designed with newer players in mind. So Sada is another hero that can see camo balloons at level 1, but she does need a little bit of support with lead balloons. So Sada doesn't have a big area of effect, but she more than makes up with it with a crazy fast attack speed. Sada is also a hero capable of popping all balloons up to around 30, sometimes higher, by herself, depending on the map of course. Now Sada does have a big drawback, and the drawback is she's only effective on beginner maps, and she falls off hard the further and further you progress in the game. So let's go ahead and jump into the levels real quick. Sada is the second cheapest tower in the game, sitting at 650 in order to place her down on hard mode. At level 3, Sada gets the ability Leaping Sword, which she drives her swords into the ground, dealing a AoE effect and dealing massive amount of damage to those balloons. Also, the sword stays in place for 5 seconds, dealing damage to balloons that pass through them. Also, this ability can pop lead balloons. At level 9, Sada gains a balloon bleed effect, which will damage affected balloons over time, and you will be able to tell if the balloons are effective with cut marks on the balloons. At level 10, Sada gains her sword charge, which Sada charges through the map, dealing a massive amount of damage to up to 400 balloons, and this can also pop leads as well. At level 11, Sada does extra damage to balloons that are slowed or stunned. At level 13, Sada can passively pop lead balloons, and at level 20, the sword charge now does 3 passes through the track and pops up to 1,400 balloons. So dudes, I'm not going to go on a big rant, but Sada is the first hero that I recommend new players to buy as soon as possible, because it will make your starting experience in BTD6 much easier to deal with. So I think it goes without saying, but I'm going to go ahead and place Sada as an S-class hero, because like I said, this tier list is for new players, and Sada is definitely the hero that every new player should buy first. But there you have it guys, this is going to be the end of the in-depth hero tier list. Please feel free to let me know in the comments below if you agree with the tier list, or if you guys feel like you should I should change around a couple of the heroes. But anyways guys, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed, please feel free to hit that like button. Also, if you guys haven't subscribed yet, please feel free to subscribe as well. I do upload quite a bit of Bloons Td 6 content. But anyways guys, you guys already know what time it is. I hope you guys have the most amazing day of your lives, and I will see you guys in the next one.